So, how would your life change if I gave you $375,000 every year for the next 20 years? And not just you, but every member of your family. For a family of four, that's $1.5 million a year, or $30 million total over the whole 20 years. Of course, if you're one of these guys, your answer might well be, my life wouldn't change all that much, really. But for the rest of us, that sum of money would be life-changing money. How would your life change? You could probably quit your job, wipe out your debt, pay off your house, buy a couple of new cars, pay for your kids' college expenses, take an amazing vacation, or two, all this in the first year and still have money left over. It sounds pretty nice, right? Now, what if I proposed a plan that would have a similar effect on the entire population of one of the poorest and most troubled countries in the world, Afghanistan? But before we start crunching numbers, let's acknowledge that Afghanistan is economically about as different from the United States as you can possibly imagine. For example, the median U.S. family income is about $75,000 a year, while that amount in Afghanistan is about $500. So, when I proposed giving you $375,000 a year, I based that number on roughly 5 times the U.S. median income. That's what I call life-changing money. To have the same effect on a family in Afghanistan, you'd need a mere $2,500. But if you think that $2,500 is a relatively small amount of money, consider for a minute how a family in Afghanistan manages to get by on only $500 a year. They most likely live in a small house with a thatched roof and a dirt floor, with no electricity or running water, let alone internet, where their source of fuel for heat and cooking would be firewood or maybe coal. And there's one more thing. The average family size in Afghanistan isn't 4 people, it's 8. So, according to our definition of life-changing money, an average family in Afghanistan would receive $20,000 a year. Step back for a moment and imagine how $20,000 a year for 20 years would change the life of a family that's always lived on $500 a year. So, if we're agreed that our budget should be a sum of $2,500 per year for 20 years for every person in Afghanistan, let's crunch the numbers. $2,500 times 20 years times 40 million, which is the population of Afghanistan, equals, wait for it, $2 trillion. That's a lot of money. It sounds like a deal killer. Until you realize that $2 trillion equals, wait for it, the entire cost of the U.S. war in Afghanistan. Now, that really is life-changing money.